Oh, hey, welcome back to Endless Horizons. I'm your host, Mark Lippman, and the Vagabond Poetry Caravan has arrived in St. Louis. We're getting ready for our first event here at Herb Arts this evening in the historic north part of St. Louis. So why don't you stay tuned and join us for more adventures. That makes great television. That's fantastic, man. You should see this shot. It's brilliant. We're here at Herb Arts in the north historic part of St. Louis, and we're very happy to have Gregory Harris with us today, or Greg Harris, who's the creative director at Herb Arts. Thank you so much for welcoming us to read here tonight. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, the space here, and
Yeah. So I go by Gregory Harris or Gregory Maurice for,
okay.
As far as poetry wise. So we're in the Herb Art space, Old North St. Louis. This space was here since 2014, and pretty much Herb Arts is a platform. This organization that's providing a platform for creatives, and so we want to provide spaces for artists to come and be able to utilize the space so they can advance their art and their creative energy, right?
Okay.
And so you obviously look around, we got nice art.
Oh, the art in here is incredible.
On the walls,
yes.
and so curated pretty much by Herb Arts and MK Stallings, and we want to promote pretty much the black aesthetic, black artists, give them a space to be able to showcase. Also, my role at Herb Arts is creative director, but also slam master. So I've been doing slam poetry for the last 15 years, and so now I'm the slam master over the St. Louis Poetry Slam, and we send a team every year to Southern Fried Poetry Slam to compete on the national level.
Okay, so is like Herb Arts kind of like the focal point for slam poetry in St. Louis?
Yeah, so Herb Arts is the house for the St. Louis Poetry Slam, and so it's actually a program with the non-for-profit, and so we simply, on the adult level, we form, we do 8 slams a year, and then we take the top poets from those slams to compete at the Grand Slam, and then that's how we form the team to go compete. And then on the youth level, we have something called Birdquake, and so we are in middle schools and high schools across St. Louis City and County, teaching poetry, having poetry workshops, and then we take those top students, and then they do a big slam at the end of the year, and we send them off to something called Brave New Voices, which is the youth poetry slam on the youth level.
So you're actually building springboards for the next generation of poets.
That's the whole key, that's the whole key, right?
Yeah.
And so for the youth, once they graduate, some high schoolers graduate seniors, they join the adult team. So we had about 4 youth over the last 15 years, 5 youth joined the team, and so leaving Birdquake program to kind of continue to do poetry and come over to the slam poetry world.
And that early start when you're creative, if you can get an early start in life, that only pushes you to have more success as an adult.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we want youth to experience art early.
Yeah.
And so we find poetry is one of those avenues to do so. Creative writing, if you really think about it, it's no limits. It's a free verse. Go ahead and write, right? And so
that's expanding not only the artistry but the mind as well.
Right.
Yes.
And one thing we try to push is like public speaking, right? Public speaking is the number one fear for people. They can't get in front of an audience and really speak, and so having a youth be able to write and then get on a mic in front of their peers and then take it further and get in front of a whole audience.
And knowing that the mic is a safe space, poetry can actually be a vehicle to help those who do have fear of public speaking to actually have confidence in themselves and their own voices.
Yeah. Confidence is key. When I started doing poetry, I had to build my confidence up as well, and so I started writing and performing at the same time. Most poets, they do a lot of writing first, and then they hop on the stage, and so I pretty much got straight to it, and then hopped in slam soon after. So
it's I'm a spoken word poet. I feel more. It's like I love the performance because there's something real that you feel with the words, but there's also the content. So it's like half the written, half how you present it. And I feel that together, that's a complete package in how the poem should be received by the world. And slam is a part of that, because that pushes you to be able to merge those two components.
Yeah, slam. And so I classify myself as a poet, slam poet, spoken word artist, you know, and so it all encompasses in one for me. But the slam world, it pushes you a little bit further to develop concepts, develop ideas, so it can't impact the audience. Because it's being scored, and so you want to get the best score you can get, right? And so in slam, we always talk about it's not the points, it's about poetry. And so what that really means is if you work on your poem, if you're workshopping, if you're really having other people read the work and getting pointers, you're going to really shape a good poem to be able to go and compete with it. And that's what it's all about.
In the slam world, and I'm no expert on slam poetry, but in the slam world, where is the emphasis for the poem? What type of poem do you want to present to get that best score, to get that best placement?
So personal poems, you know, really tapping into the human experience. That's really what triggers a lot. Becoming vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what you will see a lot in the slam world. But you also will see those wild card poems, right? You know, funny comical stuff, or things about cartoons, or things about anime, or you know, things about animals, right? That you wouldn't even think that you probably would hear.
A lot of things that are unexpected will often get good results simply because it puts someone in a different space.
Right? So imagine if you're in any reading, right? Any reading, and you have a lot of poems that are going and they're heavy, and someone gets up and does something funny to lighten the room up, you know. So but that's poetry in any space. You know, we're hearing different stories. We're hearing people express, you know, what they've experienced. And so I think that's kind of what makes poetry stand out amongst the plethora of art that we have, right? Obviously, the visual art, it can be different, but developing words and coming up with stories to present. And to find out that there's more than one love poem out in the world. So.
Well, that's how we connect as human beings, telling our stories, sharing our stories and experiences, because then we find there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, you know what? We're getting ready to go on stage, and I'm really excited to discover your work tonight. So we're going to cut the interview short, just so we can get up on stage together, all right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, Greg.
Thank you, man.
And you stay tuned, because we're going to be back with more real soon.
Gregory Harris, for those that know me. I'm the creative director here at Urban Arts, and also the slam master for the singles Poetry Slam. Tonight, you guys are here for a special poetry tour, Vagabond's tour right now. This is the 19th season, right? 19? Day 19, okay. Day 19 on tour, first stop. You guys are here one more night. Got 2 more open mics for tomorrow. So if you know about this tour, definitely follow them and stay tuned. But once again, yeah, welcome to this space. We've been here going on 11 years in this space, providing just different open mics and poetry throughout the city. This next piece is a short story about an encounter that I had when I worked at Busch Stadium. And so at the time, I would get on the bus to go home, and I encountered a homeless man that asked me if I could take him across the street to a hotel so he could get a cup of coffee. This is called Homeless. How to be a man was learned by the encounters I had growing up, observing how things are done, trying to live up to what I was told. My father could take a whole car apart, put it back together in a couple of days, and remodel a small apartment from top to bottom. Seeing him come to my defense, to a neighborhood bully, told me, you cannot always depend on someone to do something for you. My uncle could drag race a motorcycle doing over 100 miles per hour. Had so much confidence that it came off as arrogant. I love to go to his house because he had a man cave in his basement. I mean, racing trophies, pool table, big screen TV, guitars, beers, cigars, guns. Told me it's always going to be ups and downs in life. But as a man, you have to keep going, no matter what. My uncle, my great uncle, could fix anything with duct tape and green paint. He raised my father and my uncle. He was a pastor, and he wasn't shy to tell me. And what he told me how to cut grass and maintain a small garden. Told me family comes first. And let me tell you about a man I encountered that I didn't know and that didn't tell me anything. 7 years ago, I worked at Bush Stadium. I loved to help customers. Just hated the small things like counting down the cash register, or folding t-shirts, or organizing miscellaneous items like magnets, mini bats, and magazines, night games that didn't end at the 9th, but ended on the 12th. Repetitive sayings like, welcome to the Cardinals team store, is there anything I can help you find? Is there anything particularly you're looking for? Or what size do you really need? Did you find everything okay? Would you like the receipt in your hand or in your bag? I did all that with a smile, 10 hours of working. I finished my shift that night. I clocked out, and started what seemed like a hike halfway up the street to the nearest bus station. I could smell home in the midnight air. Every step reminded me of bed, the soles of my feet stung, as if the streets were paved with thorns. I tiptoed, motion of dancing across street city bricks. My body limped half a mile. All I wanted to do was rest. Sit down, the first bench I saw that has held 1,000 tired bodies. I rested my feet, placed my hands in my pockets, and I listened to the orchestra of the bus motors. I tuned out the streetcars that passed by, and I waited. I closed my eyes for the colors of downtown. I thought about not clocking back into work until tomorrow. Until I heard a deep, raspy, calm, but direct, eager voice. Yo, fella, can you push me across the street to the hotel so I can use the bathroom? My eyes opened with an attitude. I stared with silence. The hotel across the street, I said, with a frowning face, calculating the distance it would take for me to get there and get back. A homeless man sitting in front of me. Skin ashy copper, rough wrinkles etched his face like cracked streets after winter. His gray beard, dirty hands marked with dirt spots. I just wasn't quite sure when the last time he washed his hands. I could hear my great uncle say, cleanliness is next to godliness. A man should be clean. I could see that he's done more overnight shifts than me. He sat humped in his wheelchair with a St. Louis ball cap that seen better days. He looked different from those carpet fans. I helped. His shoes unstitched from the soles like a bird's nest loose from a tree. The stare he gave me was filled with hope, but knew it wasn't guaranteed. I wanted to say no at first, but I said sure, with a frowning face, unsure if me helping would be good enough, thinking if my uncle was here, he would say, you have 2 hands, you can do the work. I lifted my feet, clocked back into work. This won't show up on my check, it's overtime. I told him, I can take you to the front entrance of the hotel. Can you push me to the bathroom entrance, sir? I did. I waited for him to be done. Every time lifting my coat sleeve to check my watch. After 15 minutes, he comes out, he heads to the lobby, and he asks me, can you take me to the bar to get a cup of coffee? Embarrassment crawls on my face, pushing this homeless man around the legs of hotel patrons, squeezing between stools. I pondered how this hotel bar should be more wheelchair accessible. He asked the bartender, can I get a cup of coffee, black, no cream, 1 sugar cube? He reaches down, pulls off his right sock, pulls out change that he's had all day, change buried at the bottom of his sock, his shoes, unstitched like a bird's nest. I stare with silence. He didn't have enough for a $1.80 cup of coffee. The bartender announced, "Can anybody get this man a cup of coffee?" A white man at the bar picks the dollar, coffee in hand, pushing him back through the traffic of onlookers and bar stools, the midnight coffee strangled between his fingertips. He took 2 sips. Then he uttered, "This coffee ain't no good, I don't want it." I wondered, maybe he just wanted to remember how the feeling of warmth felt traveling through his hands, knocking the winter chill from beneath the pores. Before he exited, he muttered, I got one request. Can you ask these white people if they can give me a hotel room for tonight?" His voice filled with hope, but knew it wasn't guaranteed. I could hear my father saying, "You can't depend on random people to help you." Everyone we asked gave him a stare, shook their heads. "We can't help you," they say. After the 5th dose, he locked his black hands together, folding them in a final signal that we should just leave. And in silence we did. Returning to the bus, I realized how I didn't help him. This man, homeless, a customer, a Cardinals fan, as he drifts and dreams about home after working the streets stained with judgment, I never asked him, "Is there anything particular I can help you with? Would you like a coffee, water, or food? Would you be able to pick up some shoes? What size do you need? What size hotel would you like for tonight? Would you like your money in your bag or in your hand? Is everything okay?" I never asked him his name. I just have the memory. A man reflects struggle but demonstrated strength. His encounter showed me that as a young man, what I was told was not really the truth. Even though he was homeless, I could see he strived to be independent. He had courage in his heart to ask for assistance. Even though people told him no, he still showed persistence to ask. I never saw shame on his face, just pride, a request for effort. For him, his vulnerability was not what you would think it would be. What I learned tonight is, as a man, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be homeless. We boarded the bus, and as the bus pulled up to my stop, the homeless man said, "Thank you for helping me, young man." And I said, "You're welcome."
I'm thrilled that you opened up with this, Greg, because one of the purposes of the tour that we're on is to connect to communities and to hear the stories and to share our experiences. And this is how we build our community and our network. So this is a great way to start the event here in St. Louis. And it's been a long time coming to get back to St. Louis. So thank you very much for welcoming us here. So we're here today with Dan Denton and Jessica Bryant, and our newest compadres on the road here, our newest poets to join the tour. Now, you're from Toledo, Ohio, is that correct?
I am from Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
Jess is from a little bit farther away.
Where are you from, Jess?
Right now, I currently reside in Montpelier, Ohio,
Okay,
which is right in the corner between Michigan and Indiana.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the tour. Now, I know that you guys must be excited about this, Dan. You had your first reading last night. How was that for you?
Oh, it's amazing. Great energy. And, you know, I've read with the New Jersey Renaissance people before. This is the first time I've really got to hang out with you and read with you after we met last year.
Yeah.
So that's been amazing.
And we saw each other again. We had a quick reading in New Orleans,
New Orleans.
a couple days ago.
And you guys have been on the road for days.
Oh,
We're just on day
weeks.
6.
We're-
Weeks. You're on like your 3rd
I'm
week.
on my 3rd week. This is actually day 21 for me
Yeah,
right now.
day 6
Yes.
for us.
Okay.
We've started at Gonzo Fest.
Yes. And now you joined us. You joined us in Memphis, and now you're in St. Louis with us. And Jessica, this is your first reading with us tonight. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. You excited about that?
Of course I am.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'm reading with some of the greats, man. Like, obviously, the show last night was fantastic. Everybody was amazing. And just to have that energy and be able to add to the vibration of the tour, I'm really excited.
And you've heard the poetry that we're about here.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you connect into these social justice themes that we're working with?
I would say mine's more on a personal level.
Okay.
Reactive almost. I like to get down into where you're feeling the reaction from what's going on around you. Just kind of on a different vibration than you guys, I think, but
Okay.
I'm really excited for everything.
But that's a really great thing that I'm seeing is everyone brings a certain energy and balance to the whole.
Absolutely.
And as a caravan now, we've had a couple dozen poets with us already reading with us, and we're about like 6 to 8 of us now in this group going from New Orleans to Chicago, and it's really fantastic for me to see how the group builds and grows from all these experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to pick up poets and drop poets off all along the trail, right?
Yeah. You can stay with the tour as long as you want. You need to bring your transportation to be able to take care of yourself on the road. But we've got at least another 20 events lined up between here and Los Angeles.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is this the longest tour of your life, Mark?
Not the well. My life is the longest tour of my life.
Good answer.
Yeah.
It just seems to keep going. This feels like an extension of previous tours that I've been on. I've actively been touring since 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And it's funny because on my first tour when I was overseas and I was backpacking and bussing around and carrying all the luggage with me, I was like, yeah, I would love to get a bus.
Right.
To be able to just put all my stuff in and travel and have my transportation, my housing, and now bonus, I got all that plus my stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've performed on our lift stage already, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, at the
I couldn't
Lafayette
wait,
Cemetery. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
That was a great one.
You know your stage.
Yeah.
Like your bus is special, first of
Yeah.
all. And it's, everybody knows by this point, it's an homage to, Ken Kesey and the Further Bus.
Yes.
But your bus is extra special when even the International Beat Poet Laureate, Lifetime Emeritus Ron Whitehead is super excited to get a chance to read on your stage.
Right.
You got something cool when
Yeah, man.
everybody's excited to get on it,
That was so special for me. We had just read at the Always Lounge and Cabaret, which was a fantastic space,
Sure.
That's in New Orleans.
And that's in New
Gonzo
Orleans.
Fest, yep.
Again, that was the first reading for the festival. And as I'm coming out of the cabaret, there's Ron, and I say, hey Ron, let's do something special right now. And he says, okay. I said, do you have a poem ready? He goes, yes, I do. So I opened up the back, pulled out the stage, brought Ron up, and we had a wonderful moment that was completely in the moment. We didn't plan this at all, but it was something that is going to stand out for me as one of the highlights of the Gonzo Fest.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's something I always tell Jess, by the way. I've probably been touring and reading poetry for about 15 years now. I think in 30 some states. The one thing I always tell Jess is I've learned is always have a poem in your back pocket ready to read.
Yes.
Once people know you're a poet, whether I have been asked to read at birthday parties, weddings, band concerts of my friends, anywhere, and the people I have met and the experiences I've gained from that, from always being ready to say, yes, here, I got a poem, just like Ron Whitehead. Like, that's the one thing I've learned. Like, one of the biggest lessons, guys, you're a poet, always have a poem ready in your back pocket. If you're a songwriter, you probably should always have a song in your back pocket ready to go.
And be ready for those opportunities you can say yes to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here on Endless Horizons. We're going to be getting inside in a few minutes to start the event this evening. So stay tuned, we've got more coming for you. Those who know have heard this several times that we're on a national tour, connecting communities on the themes of peace and building a vision for a better world. We're getting close, about halfway through. By the end of the week, we'll be halfway through the tour. And we're going all the way to LA. We've got like I think it's like 30 events between Massachusetts and Los Angeles, zigzagging across the country. It's been incredible. And we're picking up people, dropping people off. And there's something that's starting to become a tradition is that when you join the tour, you're the first sacrificial poet. So give it up for Just Brian.
Love painted face. I wear my love as war paint. Beautiful black smudged cheeks, streaked and scarred and starved. Trying to tread water, but this heaviness tied to me, bound in my bones, keeps me barely above the surface. I wear my love as war paint, salacious lashes against the pale parts of a body and the dark corners of a mind. I can feel the sensation of trickling blood, or maybe tears, a vibration that rattles through your being like straight line wind. I wear my love as war paint, wittingly giving every part of me to every part of you. I just want you to feel cozy and safe and important and loved. Let me cradle your pain and harshness and all your rough edges in a warm, soft blanket. I wear my love as war paint. Old black, ash-smudged eyes no longer hiding behind trepidation. Even while I'm still fucking treading water, I'll keep one last breath of air in my lungs to tell you it's gonna be all right. To comfort you one more time. Even while I choke and give everything, you will see love painted across my face.
This next one, I thought I retired and I wanted to share work that showed skill and capacity before degenerating into the absurdity of meme culture that the Renaissance has fostered. The next poem is called Gonzo Fest. Has crowd participation in it. You're not going to be able to hear this on your Gabriel documentary. Get out of my room! Do your own damn laundry, Gonzo! I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm alive. I want to feel it. My son picks up the basket. Mess of mismatched socks. His Hunter S. Thompson jersey. His other Hunter S. Thompson jersey. His other Hunter S. Thompson jersey. I'm done. I didn't let you move back home to listen to
A rule of creating chaos.
My first man.
Change the channel, Mars.
For a second, let's be honest, nothing will clean your filthy conscience.
I didn't come to St. Louis expecting to read more than one poem, so I'm sort of shooting from the hip here, even bring my books. But I would like to share with you something that probably doesn't even have the ink dry yet. I don't know how many of you know who Bob Kaufman was.
Woo! Yeah.
Well, you know, Bob Kaufman was the original beat.
Maybe one of the best poems.
And he was the creator of the term the beat poets. He was part of the San Francisco Renaissance, a very important part of it, and hasn't always gotten his due. So I wanted to write something about Bob for some time. This is an Oriki. An Oriki is a West African, Yoruba mostly, praise poem. And I recently learned that Bob Kaufman's grandmother was an enslaved woman from Yoruba land, Dahomey. She was a voodoo priestess and the mother of his mother. Now, most biographers say his father was Jewish and his mother was Black Catholic. But anyone who knows anything about Martinique and the Caribbean knows that Black Africans from the West blended their original voodoo religion with Catholicism. So this is an Orika for Bob. Bear with me. I've never read it. He came from the water. New Orleans. His ancestral mothers carried the sacred stones, recalled all the old ways, protected and perfected them. And it was the Grand One who remembered them, who whispered them to him as she cradled him. The voodoo mysteries. Does the secret one whisper? She crooned. Does the wind moan at the moon? His mother's mother, who came from the sea, who carried the roots all the way from the Gold Coast to Martinique. And it was she who held him on her knees and chanted them, who taught him the beats that made men resist. Those liturgies that numbed the pain, those secrets encoded in her rhythmic rocking and rocking, her hymns. Robert Garnell Kaufman, the youngest of 13 children, the poet that sang the song of the golden sardine, that the spirit Iwa from across the seas, who recalled the stammers in the beats, the stumbling semantics that acrobat memories, the power of breathing that insinuates. Listen to the music of centuries, she whispered. Believe, she insisted. You must remember the beats, the breaks, take them to another place. You must reclaim, bend, and reiterate them, for the page will never contain this, never be wide enough for it. You must return to the sea to become a golden sardine. So he became a merchant marine. Bob Reynold Kaufman, the winged one who grew flying fins, golden boy number 13, born of the Grand One from Voodoo land, she who sang the euphonics of the sacred beats that made men resist. They carried the unseen from Europe, Bakongo, Ashanti, and Benin. The Quinoa transported to Martinique, reborn, our Quinoa, our Chindo, our Chinpa, our poison that heals, our power that speaks, our maroon cane, our Carolina, our roots, alcohol, and snake venom, the one that receives and delivers here to here, in this, the world of the unfree, the one who won't stay dead, whose beatific harmonies retrieved our center of gravity at the crossroads of Grant and Green, who came from the water with syncopated secrets murmured in the tongues of salt, coral, and sand, thrummed, blathered, and hummed, found a place to coexist with the hippest of the hip, flew all the way off the page into cafes, chanted songs of solitude and longing, made every place a clearing, every space a peristyle, every tabletop a mating pole, every gathering a hut for our healing, claiming and ascertaining the depth of our waters.
Because I love this pair here.
Now, Karen, tell us about yourself in the space here.
Well, this is called the Walls Off Washington, which is probably the biggest mural project St. Louis has ever had. It's all done by the Kransberg Arts Foundation. And a number of different artists, local artists and artists from out of town have been commissioned to do these murals over the last few years. So.
Oh, these are spectacular. Yeah, with the whole alley all the way up and down both sides is covered in these murals, as you can see here. Now, Karen, what is the group that you're with here today?
Kransberg Arts Foundation.
Kransberg Arts Foundation, and you're supporting all of this work.
Exactly, right. And it's, free for anyone to come and look at. We made an agreement with some of the local graffiti artist might be inclined to want to come and mark up other people's murals, but they got an agreement with them not to damage these.
Oh, I like this one here.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's great.
Oh, and you've got a circus tent. Oh,
That's part of the Kreuzberg projects that we have plays and.
oh, that is fantastic. I want to get a circus tent for the bus.
Oh,
Not that big, but you know,
right.
but something that we can do outdoor events in a park or something like that. That's beautiful. Oh, look at all that. Yeah.
Crane. It's an egret up here in
Uh-huh.
Pine.
Oh, yes.
We're not really near water, but there's some egrets that come once a year, and they have a rookery very near here. And there'll be hundreds of them in one tree.
Oh, this is beautiful. Now, your foundation, how long have you been working with the foundation? How long has the foundation been around?
The foundation's been around for 20 years, I'd say. I've only been doing it for 3 years. We started this series, the High Noon series that you're reading in. We started 3 years ago, right after COVID. And it's free and open for anyone to come.
Well, we're really looking forward to this today. I saw the space inside and it is fantastic. I'm really overwhelmed by the work that you guys are doing here. So thank you so much
We're so delighted to have you here on your big trip.
Oh yeah, it's been something. I'll tell you more about that on the inside as well. I'll save the stories for inside.
Right.
Hey, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Today, we are very lucky to be on the national tour of Mark Lippman, who is the United States National Beat Poet Laureate for 2024 to 2025. His talk is called, or his reading from his poetry is called Stories from Further Down the Road. I think Further is the name of his bus, which is parked right out there. If you didn't come in on the side, you want to be sure afterwards to take a look at that big red poetry bus, which has taken him in the last 22 days from Massachusetts to St. Louis with a stop every single day to read poetry somewhere. He's going to be reading, after he does a couple more readings in this area, he's going up to Indiana where he's going to be reading in a state park inside a cave. It's a cave that has, it's a park that has a cave. He's also going to be reading in Chicago and eventually make his way to Los Angeles, where he'll be, I think, for a few weeks maybe, and then up to San Francisco.
As Karen was mentioning, we're on a massive, epic poetry adventure right now. In the spirit of Ken Kesey, who was an influence, obviously, for My Bus Furtherer, we're going on a 6,500 plus mile poetry tour around the country, connecting community after community on a theme of peace and building a vision for a better world. And if not the poets, who is going to do this? So we have picked up the mantle, the necessary work of our generation to bring our people together, to bring our communities together, to build a real working class poetry movement that can reshape the boundaries of what's possible in this world. I'm very happy to be going on tour with a whole crew of poets. We're actually, there's right now something like 8 of us. We'll be actually reading this evening as a group at Dunway Books, so make sure you turn out for that this evening. That's gonna be spectacular. It's gonna blow your socks off. But we've been connecting with about 100 different poets around the country. It must be more. We actually had 100 poets down in New Orleans this last week. But hundreds of poets around the country. We've got 30 dates zigzagging. So we start off in Massachusetts, and we've gone, I picked up these guys, the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance, and you gotta check out their work too, because, you know, when I got named, and I ramble, I'll go on tangents, but that's a great part of telling a story. You got to get all the little facets, and I'm going to give you more poetry too. Don't you worry about that. But one of the things that I really love about this is that we've got so many people with stories to tell, and if I've got the opportunity with my time in this wonderful organization, it's the National Beat Poetry Foundation, founded by Deborah Tolson Kilday in Connecticut. And I don't know how this title was put onto me. I've earned it. Number one, I have earned it. It's simply you put in the work, and eventually other people are going to see what you see about yourself. And it really is all about work. If you've got a dream, if you have something that you want to do in this life, all you have to do is a little bit of work every day to get yourself there. And we all have obstacles, we all have opportunities, but it's a question of making your dream a reality. You know, my dream is doing this tour as a poet, going out and meeting people and connecting. But what is your dream? This is something that I want to help bring out for people to actually let me segue into a poem about that. Because as I've been getting ready for this, I've been writing new poetry that I want to share. Let me see. Okay, not that one. I will. I thought I had everything going. Okay. Yeah, so this is one of those poems that's kind of attached to the bus and part about the tour that we're going on. It's called In the Backseat of America. We climbed into the backseat of an America that no longer exists, and raced down the road into the promise of a future where the sky was no limit, where the frontier was endless, where you could be anything you want as long as you're a white man. Then they told us it was us or them, dividing us by identity, so there'd always be someone to blame for our poverty as we tightened our belts while the rich bought another super yacht, leaving us caught between Iraq and a hard place as we did an about-face to everything we said we believed in. There was a time before revelations, before Rodney King and the internet, when we could claim ignorance, for you can't be held accountable for what you were never taught about in the first place. Like genocide and stolen land, like slavery and police brutality, like who did what and when. But now, with an entire encyclopedia at our fingertips, at our command, when we can see coups and state-sponsored crimes in real time, there's no excuse, no saying we don't know, only that we don't care. And that's where America flew right off the rails and drove straight off the cliff. It's not even a question of if, but when they come after you, when there's no one left to speak after so much willful silence, and worse, outright obedience. At what point did we stop questioning the narrative and just hate who we were told to? Was it after we dropped the bomb or overthrew Guatemala, when they killed JFK, MLK, RFK, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, and sent the rest to die in Vietnam? At what point did we become numb to all the state-sponsored violence and just accept it as the American way? Did we even have a choice, or were we all complicit as we sat in the backseat of America, being driven down a road with no direction, with no memory of where it's been, with no vision of where it's going, or any idea of how we even got here today, finding ourselves at the crossroads, having completely lost our way? Perhaps, just maybe, it's time to get out of the backseat and get behind the wheel.
So Jeremiah, tell us how the tour's been for you.
Last night was a show, but it wasn't our faults.
Okay. What happened?
We fought raccoons in the desert.
We found desert in St. Louis and fought raccoons.
Oh. No, it was a good time with that. We've been reading Herb Arts.
Our buddy Ragzill's getting DP'd in a hotel room somewhere.
We hope. God bless America.
He took all of our supplies.
Then we had a good time at the TikTok Tavern and wherever else we went to. CBGB, the best part of America.
Yeah, that was the
$2
one.
Stags. Stag is a beer, kids. They always sell in Missouri. Good beer. I support it. They don't sponsor us. Tonight we're at Dunaway Books, where the magic's gonna happen. That's on Cran Boulevard. One of us may get arrested. It'll be worth the show.
Hey, welcome back to Endless Horizons. We're here for our second day in St. Louis at Dunaway Books with their event coordinator who's hosting us tonight, Dan Wright. Dan, thank you so much for bringing us into Dunaway Books.
That's my pleasure, Mark.
Yeah, this
Glad to have y'all.
This is a fantastic space. I love all the leather-bound, the old books, the feel of this space. Tell us about the bookstore. How long have you guys been here?
Well, the bookstore itself has existed since 1965, but they've been in this spot since 2004.
Okay. And you were telling me the story about the community, how this came up. It was like really an impoverished area of town, and then...
Yeah, it was kind of not the warmest place to be at, 15, 20 years ago, but that's kind of what made it appealing in a way, because it's always this sort of like cycle in life that artistically inclined people are going to go wherever it's cheap to live, and they're going to always make a community look beautiful, and once they make it look beautiful, that's usually when other people kind of come in and kind of force them out. It's almost sort of like inventing a game for you and your friends in kindergarten, and then once the popular kids find out about it, you're not allowed to play that game anymore.
Sure. But I see that the artists are really doing something in this part of the community. Now you're actually revitalizing a part of town that wasn't happening a few years ago.
Well, yeah, no, about around like 2005, I want to say, it's like the right people started kind of finding their place as being like a particular piece of a puzzle to make this beautiful mosaic that is South City. It felt like, there's this great quote from Jello Biafra that said that, the people who started the first punk and new wave bands were the only Stooges fan in their town, the only Velvet Underground fan in their town, and then they all moved to cities, they found each other, and they started these bands. Similar thing happened here with just, usually like along the border of St. Louis, like in the county on both sides of the river, these, I don't necessarily want to say outsiders or outcasts, but these people who thought differently found their pilgrimage down to South City, and they found these like-minded people. And as always, when you find people who think and feel and view things the same way as you do, like, you want to play with them.
Sure.
You want to create something. You want to see what's going to happen. And that's what's been going on for about the past 15, 20 years, in South City specifically.
So there's been a big artistic community building here. Now,
yes, and now granted, there has been a really good arts community in St. Louis going back to probably like the dawn of time. I mean, you get any group of people together, there's going to be an artistic community somewhere. It used to be, on the riverfront till about like the early 2000s, and it was kind of displaced for a moment. There were a lot of little pockets going on, but it really seemed to centralize again here in South City. It's
what I'm hearing is that even throughout the difficulties, even through the obstacles, art and poetry is not only saving lives, but it's saving cities.
To my mind, yes. There has been some of the best rock bands that, if they had existed 20 or 30 years prior, would have been signed up in a heartbeat. A lot of great, authors that would have been given more of a chance for an agent to take a chance on. But because we now live in the world in which we live in, it's now paint by numbers, and people who are maybe a little bit more iconoclastic or, more old school necessarily don't get, their flowers. And unfortunately, St. Louis, as much as I love it, does have a habit of shooting itself in the foot and wondering how it got shot.
As often it happens to many of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so St. Louis has always been on like the cusp of something great, but it needs to know that how to step that final step to get to something better.
The resurgence of poetry in the arts is actually part of what we're helping to bring here tonight. Is we have a big event coming up tonight, and we're going to be merging the poets from outside of St. Louis with some local poets as well to reconnect our communities, not just locally but nationally.
Right.
So that St. Louis, as a re-emerging city, can get back on that map.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I love that you've all been able to make a few stops here. Like, Damien Rucci's a prime example.
Yeah.
Like, I've been booking Rucci here since either 2017 or 2018 was the first time I ever booked Damien here. But he has been bringing people out here, and the thing that he and I have talked about a lot is, something I was talking to you about last night, that, the East Coast is pretty well mapped out, and I know roughly, most cities in like the eastern half of the U.S., if I'm going to book a poetry tour, I know who to talk to in this town or that town. The West is a bit more of an anomaly. I mean, San Francisco, like some of my best friends live in San Francisco, and I know who to call like in a heartbeat to like set something up. And even, I'm starting to know some people in the Los Angeles area, but there's a lot more to the West than just California. And, outside of maybe a couple connections in Arizona, like there's a lot of sort of, unknown in that area that, I would love for there to be this sort of redux of, I don't want to call it postmodern, maybe new modern bohemia, of these scenes being connected and talking to each other. It's like, hey, you need to book such and such. Tell you what, you take this person for a couple of nights. We'll put up this other person from your scene, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, the ball really gets rolling.
It's funny that you mention this, because one of the purposes of organizing the tour the way that we have is that I've spent 20 years on the West Coast. I'm tied in really tight with the West Coast scene. And I've been building networks actively with the poets on the West Coast since 2009, and really both national and international networks. And the networks that exist in the East Coast are not connected to the West, but we're bringing them together right now. And another thing that's nice about the difference of the networks is that there's also a bit of a generational gap between the networks that we're working with. So what's happening is we're bringing them together. We're actually cross-pollinating our generational poets as well. So now we're tapping into a much wider spectrum of the overall community. We're bringing young and old poets together, and really doing this through the social justice issues that have been affecting all of our communities.
Well, right, and that's a big part of it, because it's the important thing with what you were talking about is that with that sort of cross-pollination, that this scene continues to thrive and evolve. I mean, the Beats started almost 80 years ago, and there was obviously something before them. I mean, you can point to the Lost Generation in Paris, a full generation before them, and even La Boheme. But it's important to keep this flame alive and keep it going.
We are in a time of change, where the status quo hasn't worked for so many of us, that we're moving towards some type of counterculture that the Beats have always spoken to.
Right. Yes, and there always seems to be like this sort of push and pull over the effect that the Beat generation has, like and now, like, as someone who is a millennial, technically a millennial in their 40s, I now see with Gen Z, and in 10 years we're going to see, I guess, Gen Alpha is the next generation, that the reason why their work resonates is that there is no timeline on the truth, and the hard truths of the world are going to resonate as much now as they did, during the time of King Tut. They're always going to be there, and if you can call a movement whatever you want to call it, it's always going to be the same regardless of the fancy packaging.
And the truth is basically the job of the poets. It's always been our job to tell the truth, to hold a mirror up to the world and say, this is what it is.
Right.
And it's not with any judgment, it's just, this is what is happening in the world, and we have to reflect that in our words, in our performances, in our art. And tonight, we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot of that truth brought to the mic right here at Dunaway Books. We've got the Vagabond Poetry Caravan coming in here. It's our second night in St. Louis. And for those in the know, you want to be here tonight, because it is going to be off the rails. And Dan, thank you so much again for welcoming us here and having this little conversation with us. This has been very insightful and a wonderful addition to our time here in St. Louis. So thank you very much, and you stay tuned. We've got some more stuff coming up for you on Endless Horizons. Thank you. Hey Damien, what's going on here?
It's gonna be chaos tonight. 7:30, Dunaway Books. Vagabond Poetry Tour is here. It's like a home city to me. No quarter. No quarter. No quarter. There's no quarter. No quarter.
Hey Damien.
Yo.
You know what else?
What?
You're emceeing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are.
Thank you. We're ready to get into the show. Woo! Kicking it off is a legend who, to promote the show, we were driving around screaming out of Alex's sunroof, because that's what you do these days. And I saw a gentleman killing it, so we invited him to open the show. Please put your hands together for Poopy Night!
Good evening, beatniks and bourgeois Buddhists. The horse says.
Yeah. One of the best working class poets, if not the best working class poet in America. Please make some noise for Dan Dentist!
Because I fell in love with books as a kid. And somewhere along the way, when you read enough books from the age of 5 years old, you like, I guess, start writing them eventually. I've lived in Toledo for the last 20-some years. Well, I lived in Toledo. I live in a travel trailer now and travel around as much as I can. And I worked as an auto worker for a lot of years at the Jeep plant. And so when I travel, I always feel obligated to kind of read something with some Toledo flavor and some blue-collar flavor. This poem will be in my first ever poetry collection. After 15 years or 14 years of traveling and reading poems, I'm finally going to publish a book. Jason Reberg from Luchador Press is going to publish Fight Songs for the Underdogs. It's a best selected of like all these little road trip chaps I've made over like the last decade. So I'm really excited about that. I do have some novels for sale too here. But this poem's called Medicine for Busted Hearts. And it's about the importance of art in this crazy world. Thursday night in downtown Toledo, a blue-collar town, built with brick and mud, built with work and blood. There's a bar, there's a patio, there's music. There's tall buildings crumbling to dust, concrete gardens and baiting trust. There's a downtown skyline, and past that, there's neighborhoods and families full of violence and drugs. Out on the freeways that lead to different Midwest towns with the same dead ends, there's human trafficking and pollution of air and water and pollution of human hearts. And past that, there's 1,000 abandoned factories that sit like 1,000 abandoned prayers. There's unemployment and homelessness. There's wars and droughts. There's kids with no mothers and kids with no fathers. There's broken kids and there's hungry kids. There's desperation, sin and sadness, hate and confusion and madness. Out there past the patio, past the sounds of music and laughter, past the Thursday night blind dates and cold beers, the jokes and the stories. Out there, hope and happy slip away a little more each day. Hope and happy slip away like factory 401ks eaten by cancer. And it will all still be out there tomorrow, and out there next week and next month. But this Thursday night in downtown Toledo, the songwriters made Rust Belt poems dance like daydreams that no one was watching, and guitars played forgotten time clock blues that seep through like medicine, like Band-Aids and painkillers for Toledo artists that are busted, and Toledo hearts that are busted and bleeding from all that out there.
All right. Coming up next, we have a killer poet from New Jersey. This dude's my best friend, my brother. He's the host of Flood City Fables. He's incredibly talented. He's the right-hand man in the NJ Poetry Renaissance. Makes noise for my brother, Alex Ragsdale!
We just like to make some noise and make sure you're paying attention. The revolution will not be started. I don't think it's going to happen here in Dunaway, folks. God, we're here to take bounty, men, and glory. And hey, we're happy as hell to be here today. I'd like to kick off a piece for you guys. This is some legacy. I actually wrote this the last time I rode through Missouri. And I feel the need to share with you guys. It starts with a quote. It's, God, how did that go again? Oh yeah, that's right. The promise of lightning is that all poets die empty and that their voices will be heroes in hell. That's Victor Smith. He's a Kansas City poet, if you guys don't know who the hell he is. It's all fading now. When you're the last man standing, a hazing of youth or fate, I don't quite know yet. But every fallen soul is an earthquake on this battlefield that shakes me to my core. And all the lost boys and girls staring, piercing the skin that I thought was my own. And on the sleepless nights, where a dreamer lay dreamless, cradled by bleeding backdrops, where light dares not touch, where cries can't be heard, and sorrow deafens even those faithful. All that's left is knowing. What's left is the experience. That all my heroes are dead, cloaked by the veil of the capes that they once wore, and I've outlived them, but not their teachings. All that's left is the experience that if my voice is to become a hero in hell, let me bear something greater than death and carry your torch beyond that. We have a wonderful lineup tonight. Please give it up for Dan Wright and Dunaway Books. And Damien Rucci for hosting. We didn't expect that. And for Mark Lippman for skirting us around with his bus all over America.
Man cat.
We're believe it or not, so we're 20 days deep into a 60-day journey across. You can see us bounce around all sorts of stupid cities and have a great time and be wayward and mischievous and whatever the hell we're going to do along the whole way. We thank you, St. Louis. Thank you for having us. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you for
a living legend. Make some noise for Dan Wright.
I dedicate this to Damien Rucci. This is something that I've never said in real life. And it's called "Want to Snort Coke in the Iowa Buffet Bathroom." St. Louis toasts New Jersey because it's got just as blue a collar, just as black a sense of humor, and tells a bigger city to go itself. Cheap beer and 90s tunes surrounded by regulars whose skin looks like weathered catcher's mitts will tell you they love you if they remember you enough times. Your family is wherever love awaits, be it your hometown, the East, or the West. Thank you.
Yeah!
The millennial experience in 5 lines or less. Imagine showing up to the coolest party ever, right when it's about to end, and somehow you're stuck on cleanup. Thank you and good night.
Damn!
Things have never been easy. I had to build a cathedral just to get laid. And I know a poem can't change the world, but I can tell you a few that have changed me. But we're both at the end of our cigarettes, and we have other places to go. We're all animal and engine, all matchsticks burnt out, heading to ash, all bohemian, baby. The rumors are true. We'll be gone by tomorrow, so take a picture. We'll write a poem about it on the come down, I promise. And the cowboy mystic of Old Bridge pisses off the on-ramp to Columbus. Of course so, this world belongs to us. And a man will find a church in anything, so we built an obelisk to the moment, broke the wall and became the poem. No borax, no glue, just a heart full of longing and the wind in our beards, just the American Serengeti in our taillights and dust. And I swear to God, if I don't smell Nebraska by the morning, I'm not going to unalive myself. I'm going to kill myself. And there's no tomorrow. And we fall in love every night. And the muse gaslit her psychiatrist to hear me sing blue-collar bar songs in Ohio. Your Honor, it's not that clear. It's the era. All my girlfriends have boyfriends. It's the poet's creed, I gather. And the revolutionaries of the punk basement bacchanals buy us dinner from their parents' credit cards, and we never say a thing. In every city, it's always the same. Which way to the liquor store? Where are the smokes? Where are my pants? Are you my angel? And to be honest, we were going to tribute Jack Kerouac's grave. If you don't know what a tribute is, I suggest you Google it. But we did lines of coke often instead, to tempt the fate and rub some salt in the wound. Sal Paradise
has been charged with the ultimate sin of not dying young. And I told Jeremiah I wasn't going to write about the orgy. Or crossing swords with the crime lords of New England. But he's going to hear this poem every night at torso. Nelly's on the Bluetooth in a whole room full of heathens. Penthouse, rooftop, birds I'm feeding. It's paisans on parade, it's the culture. It's drunk poets summer and it's coming at you. It's the last sip of a Milwaukee's best at 3 a.m. It's what you call the underworld, I call the working class worker. You got your congressmen, priests, and employers. I got the strippers, petty criminals, and the dreamers. We're coming for you and your stanzas, and maybe your catalytic converters too.
Yeah.
Ginsburg wasn't punk enough for me. Jesus wasn't punk enough for me. Your pop punk pantheon wasn't punk enough for me, because I am the poem. After me a deluge, you see I found the crown of poesy in the gutter, and I traded it for Fellaheen sunsets. I traded it all the way to breathe vermilion. Believe them when they tell you, baby, I'm a god.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much for tuning into Endless Horizons, and make sure to check us out next time as our tour literally goes underground as we go cave diving in Indiana for a big poetry reading there. Until then, remember to follow your dreams and keep your eye on the horizon.
One more time, guys. Popcorn. Tickets. 10 cents. Welcome to the Vagabond Poetry Caravan National Tour. Yeah!
I think that was good.
It was good.
That was perfect.
I think
even
so.
with me distracting you.